Hey there, it's John Ray. I'm feeling a little bit of frustration and mania and just some agitation in my body right now. And so I thought I would just show you what I usually do when that happens. I pull out a timer and I set it to 1 hour, and I'm just going to sit here and be mindful of what's happening in my body. So I start the hour mark here, and you can just sit with me, and there's really no expectation of what this should be. We're just going to tune into our body, and we want to notice what's happening in our body. And I'm not going to say much. I'm just going to sit here and I'm going to notice what's happening in my body and allow the mania and agitation and frustration to play itself out as sensation. I'm not going to make it mean anything. If there's thoughts, I'll let them come in and let them pass. But mostly, I'm just tuning into where in my body is there a sensation, energetic or emotional, that wants to come out and express itself. So right now I'm just feeling a bunch of agitation in my solar plexus, my sacral, kind of my stomach area, part of my heart. So I'm just going to sit here and I'm going to notice it, and I'm just going to allow it to play itself out. If I'm not careful, when this agitation comes on, I can easily project it forward as behavior, and it's usually bad behavior, meaning that I'm going for some food or doing something compulsive. And so I've learned to just set that timer for an hour. If I've got the space, if I don't, I'll do it for 15 minutes. And I just let that energy play itself out. And there's an intensity and heat in my stomach right now that I'm just tuned into. And I'm not trying to make it go away. Actually, I'm just giving it permission to get bigger if it wants to. And I'm just going on the ride of that. And I just breathe as my body wants to breathe. if I need to burp or make some noise, breathe funny, I just let myself do that. And I'm still just tuning into any sensations that want to happen in my body. It's a mindfulness meditation in that way. I'm just noticing what's happening. My heart's beating. There's some tightness in my neck. There's just a lot of agitation, energetic agitation in my stomach and solar plexus. So I just let that be there. And I'm just curious about it. I want to see what it wants to do, where it wants to go. If it wants to stay or go. And I just give it permission to do whatever it needs to do. Sometimes if I'm moving a lot of energy, I will get pretty burpy, and so I just let that happen. It's a way of moving some of that energy. Feels good to take a deep breath like that. Some of that agitation is moving up into my chest now. I can feel it in my heart chakra, and that's okay. I'm just curious about where it wants to move to. I'm not trying to stop it. I'm just giving it permission to go wherever it needs to go. And so right now my mind is wanting me to do something else, check my phone, check to see if the microphone is okay, check to see if the video is still recording. But I just brush all of that to the side, let it pass through, feel some of the agitation that wants to play itself out as behavior. And I just grow the pipes of my nervous system by letting that burn a little bit. And I can just feel it burning off in waves and creating more capacity and space inside of me. It still feels uncomfortable. It still feels agitated. But I can also tell that it's starting to dissipate, that energy is starting to disperse throughout my body. And maybe kind of like Drano in the pipes, it's clearing out some of the blockages that created the agitation in the first place. There's a lot of heat and pressure building up in my heart chakra, but it's that energy rising because it's not as present in my solar plexus anymore. So I can feel it kind of ping ponging between my heart chakra, my third eye. And those are just the names that I give those energy centers. You can call them whatever you want. You could just say it's going from my chest to my forehead. But it is an energetic sensation. And I just kind of let that ping ponging play itself out. And I stay curious about what other sensations are happening in the body and where these sensations that are present want to move to. And a lot of that energy is moving into my crown chakra now, at the top of my head. A lot of times I can feel my mind wanting to figure something out. And that's okay. I just kind of let it have whatever thoughts it needs to have, but I don't really give it too much attention or energy. And just let it happen in the background. And when my mind sees I'm not feeding it, those thoughts kind of just fall away. But if those thoughts come up and they inspire some kind of a sensation in my body, that's something that I do want to pay attention to. And so when there's a thought, I really try to search out where the energy mirror of that thought in my body is as a sensation. And then I sit with the sensation. And as I sit with the sensation, the thought is no longer there. There's just me being present with the sensation. And eventually, if I sit with it long enough, there's not even the sensation. And again, I always let myself burp or pass gas or whatever needs to happen. That's all part of the energy moving where it needs to move. What's funny is that even though some of the sensations I'm having in my chest are still uncomfortable, there's actually kind of a channel that's opened up where the energy is passing from my solar plexus to my heart to my third eye or forehead to the top of my head, kind of creating a loop that's creating a little bit of a buzzing feeling within me. And I'm so interested in how that energy is moving in that new sensation that the discomfort of the energy in my heart really isn't as big a deal as it was. And so it doesn't feel like that uncomfortable energy is driving me anymore. It's not trying to get me to make a bad choice or to cover it up with food or beverage or behavior. It's just burning itself out, and I'm aware of it. And I just kind of caught myself thinking more than I was feeling. And that's okay. I just kind of let those thoughts go away. And I get back into my body. And I just scan my body for sensation. Right now, there's still a lot of energy in my chest and a little bit of sensation in my stomach. that energy's in my face, the top of my forehead, and still in my heart chakra. So I just notice it. I just notice that it's there, and I see where it's going to go next. For most of my life, when I would have manic feelings or agitation come up like I did in this session, I would use behavior as a way to shove that down. I would need to go and do something, try to fix it. Go and talk to somebody, send a bunch of text messages, go drink, do drugs, eat food, try to find somebody on a dating app, or in my day when I was doing it, it was on MySpace. Just try to get anybody to get me out of how I was feeling. Go to a meeting, AA. Just try to feel normal by doing something. But when I found mindfulness meditation, I recognized that my body wants to heal itself. It wants to move through that agitation. I just have to be still and create enough space for that energy to move how it needs to move and clear out what it needs to clear out, and then transmute itself back into creative potential. And when I find myself thinking about something, I just bring my mind back to any sensation in the body. And right now it's just a bunch of agitation and energy in my heart chakra. And also some kind of tingly energy through my hips, my head, really my whole body. It's more subtle. And so I just stay curious about that energy, about those sensations in my body. And again, I got caught up in a thought. It was a funny one. But I just bring my attention back to my body and I scan the body for sensation. And wherever there's sensation, I just put my attention there. And I see where that energy wants to move to, or if there's anything it wants me to notice about it. And a lot of times while I'm sitting like this, fears will come up or worst case scenarios will play themselves out. And that's totally appropriate. I just allow those to be there and I accept it as the reality that is my thought right now. And how do I feel about that? And then I just scan the body for any sensation that comes up in relationship to the thought or the scenario I'm imagining. And I grow my nervous system to be able to handle anything that comes my way. And in this way, my most fearful thoughts actually serve me very well because they give me the emotional fortitude to actually move through challenge quickly and efficiently and successfully. And I just had a great idea, and my mind wants me to stop the meditation and get a pen and write it down. But I know if it's really a good idea, it'll come back to me. And so I just let it pass. And I scan my body for any sensation related to it. And it's the first time during this meditation that there's a different flavor of energy or sensation in the body. It's more of a lifting energy. And that's a good sign that some of the energy that was agitation or compulsive in nature is transmuting itself through an alchemical process and kind of converting into a new creative potential. And in the frequency of that new energy or that new creative potential, the natural manifestation is great ideas flowing to me. But I just let them pass. And I feel through any fear or worry that I have that I may forget the idea. Because I know intellectually I have an infinite abundance of great ideas. But it can be really easy to get caught in a scarcity mode where we think we have to clench at the few ideas we have. And that's just because we haven't fully sat through some of the agitation in the body. So I just scan the body again. And I put my attention on any sensation that wants to express. Right now, that's some waves of energy in my legs. And still some mild agitation in my chest. And that good idea keeps coming back to me, which is a good thing. And I just kind of bask in the joy of that and the sensation that ripples through my body. And I'm also aware that there's still some agitation there. So I just allow myself to experience all of that sensation. And I get out of my mind, kind of let those thoughts fall away. And I just lend all my attention on whatever feels like the most dominant sensation in the body. And something on my to-do list that I still haven't done just popped into my head, and it really kind of stirred up some of that agitation, which is good. I want to be present with that. I don't want to try to resist it. I want to just notice any of those present moment sensations that thought triggered within me. Because that thought and those sensations are my law of attraction. Those are the sensations that I need to notice and process and be with in order to move into the next phase of balance. And my mind wants to look and see what time it is, how much longer we have. But I just let that thought fall away. And I tune back into any sensation that wants to present in my body. And so then my mind tries harder and it says, you better check to make sure the camera's still recording. And then I think about what if it wasn't recording after the end of this? And that makes me angry. And so then that agitates me. And so now I have some sensation that I can notice around that agitation and anger. And so I just let that agitation grow my nervous system while I watch it. And that agitation in my chest really just doesn't want to go away. And so then that annoys me and it exacerbates that agitation. And so I just allow all of that to happen. And I don't resist any of it. And I'm just curious about how much bigger is it going to get? Where does it want to go? Will it ever go away? Maybe not. How do I feel about that? Where do I feel that? And then I put my attention on whatever sensation feels present in my body. And that agitation in my chest is still there, but it's definitely dissipating. So I just scan my body. There's a little bit of energy in my stomach or solar plexus right now. So I've got my attention on that. And then I'm just still aware that there's a little bit of agitation or energy still in my chest. Wow. And that's already an hour. So usually what I'll do is just sit here and decide, am I ready to get up? And I'm just going to sit a little bit longer. When I have the time, I want to build out as much space as possible for this energy to fully balance. And so since I've got the time, I'll just keep sitting here. And I'm just thinking about how quickly that seemed. And I think part of that is that I really didn't have too many thoughts. I was just fully immersed in the sensation in my body.